Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of the Medical Receptionist Network podcast. My name is Shivhon Atkins. I am your host and also the founder of Medical Receptionist Network. Thank you for joining us today. So, I am doing a video recording. So, those of you who normally listen on audio, you will obviously always have access. We will begin uploading these videos to the Medical Receptionist Network YouTube channel just for the convenience of anyone who's interested in checking us out that way. And today we're just going to go over a couple of quick things, right? We're heading into the summer here on the East Coast. I want to start by just mentioning, if you have not checked out the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success, definitely do that. You can visit the medicalreceptionistnetwork.com website, or you can order conveniently on Amazon as well. If you have not yet subscribed to the Medical Receptionist Network, please do so. We are on Podbean, iTunes, Beyond Pod, Google Play, wherever you listen to all your wonderful podcasts. Please click the subscribe button there and share that. And also, if you're interested in being a guest, specifically medical receptionists, unit secretaries, medical secretaries, as well as office managers and supervisors, definitely interested in hearing from you in reference to your front desk, what's working, what's not. I would love to interview you. You can visit our website for that as well, and we have a link to a Calendly calendar where you can schedule yourself, or you can email me at info@medicalreceptionistnetwork.com, and I will help set you up, and we will get that done, and it will be wonderful. I love having conversations with others, especially in healthcare field. As much as you think people are doing the exact same thing as you have done or may have been doing, there's always new information that can be shared and new tips and tricks that you can pick up from someone else, and also hear other people's success stories or stories of growth and information that they can provide from their personal experience. So today, also, what I'll have available in our show notes is a discount code for Pro Trainings. Pro Trainings offers BLS training and basic life support, so you can get your CPR training. They have other trainings there as well, so we linked up with them so that we could offer a discount code for that. So I'll make sure I put that in the show notes rather, on YouTube, as well as on the actual audio podcast. And also, if anyone's interested in planners, I like to have planners or calendars and things like that. We have also an affiliate link for Law of Attraction Planner, which is very cool. It's very detailed. They have a lot of stuff. So if you're someone who is not only working on your career, but you're trying to keep your personal life in order, they have a lot of great journal style books that may be of interest to you. So I will leave that information there for you as well. And that's for anyone. So you're welcome to share that. So today I just want to start by covering a quick customer service, some customer service information. Customer service during times of change. So when things are changing in your office, sometimes it tends to be more difficult to be as positive in your customer service delivery, right? So you always want to make sure you're aware of that and know that, okay, because things have become more intense here, or it's been more stressful the last few weeks for you and your staff, your coworkers, even your management and physicians, you don't want to project that onto your patients. But in this case, I want to say, definitely be patient with yourself, right? You are dealing with the changes. There's things you're probably learning on a daily basis, for a couple days or a couple weeks, and it's been frustrating. Maybe there's a new system, maybe there's a new process, maybe your location moved. And we've talked about customer service many times before, because that's a huge aspect of the job of a medical receptionist or any clerical position in healthcare. So definitely want to give yourself that time to adjust, and the easiest way to do that is also to inform your patients. Inform. Make sure you're letting your patients know what's going on, so that they are aware of what's taking place. They have jobs just like you do. They will understand, but make sure that you're sharing that information with them, whatever it is, however you can convey that. You don't have to tell them exactly what's happening if it's something business related to your practice, but always let them know, we're going through some changes. We just want to going to take a little extra time to verify your information, or can you have a seat? It's going to take me a little more time to enter this. Whatever the case may be, if you're having maybe a new equipment was brought into your office, so maybe your medical assistants or your radiology people are taking a little more time between patients, just things like that, something internal that's taking place, just let the patient know so that they understand, this is not our normal practice, it's taking us a little longer, or I'm sorry that you had to wait, whatever the case may be. Or, maybe something crashed and you have to get more information from them, and just always be aware that the more information you pass on to your patients, the more cooperative they'll be with you, and the more calmer you'll be able to be. And you can communicate, make sure you're communicating with all the departments in your office or your practice. And don't wait until you're drowning to ask for help. So if you need assistance, always go ahead and let whoever's working with you know what, I believe I'm going to need your help in a few minutes. That gives them time to finish up what they're doing, and they can kind of come to your rescue, and vice versa if they so need it. So you always want to be a team player in that aspect. But when you need the assistance, so that you're not getting have a line backed up, or a lot of callers waiting, or something's not being addressed, make sure you're telling that person, especially at times of change, because that's even more important than on a regular, daily basis. You want to do that, but when things are changing, you just have to pay a little more attention, be a little more sharp, and say, oh, I see it coming, because you've been, maybe dealing with it for a couple of days, couple of weeks, and that, okay, when this happens, it's going to back me up, it's going to take me an extra 10-20 minutes to clear off my desk, or whatever you need to do to feel like you can move on to the next piece of information, or the next patient, or the next call, confidently. So you just want to make sure that you are informing people around you what you need, and what's going on, right? And ask questions. Ask your management, ask your administrator. If you're not sure of something, make sure you're asking those questions. If you need to take a couple notes, even if it's just for a temporary change, or something that you need to make some adjustments with, make sure you go ahead and get those questions answered early in the day, before you really get the ball rolling, or at the end of it, if it's just happening or something just changed, if it's the first day, make sure after the end of that day, what questions would you want to know for the next day to make it better, so you can talk with your doctor or talk with your administrator or managers to get that clarified, so the next day a little bit easier, and every day it gets better, right? And hopefully you have a lot of good resources to refer to. And the other thing, with customer service, I recently had an experience where I believe I shared on our Instagram, going into a new office, and I was greeted by the receptionist. She shook my hand, introduced herself. Then later, this is all before going into a patient room, I met the assistant manager, I met the assistant, and I also met the physician before going in the room. And they have clearly a really good process. If you forgot to ask someone the question, you're going to see, you're getting ready to meet the next person. If you have a question for the provider or information to give them, you're able to do that. And while I know every office cannot have that level of welcoming of a new patient, it's something to consider and to think about, especially if time allows for that. Maybe it will save more time on the back end if a patient does have 2 minutes with the doctor before they go into a room, or if the medical assistant or a hygienist or whoever is also going to be treating the patient can have a moment with them, so they can give them a little information that may help them better prepare the space, or ask have whatever questions answered for the patient. And I was thinking about myself and in some of my past roles, and I was thinking, could we have done something like that for our new patient population, and would that have made a difference? And I really think it would have. And although I work for pretty busy places, I think there was still a way that we could have worked something like that in. So it's always a good idea to explore some new ideas with your process, with your management, if you think that it would be helpful, because especially a new patient, they will have questions, and sometimes people don't always ask at the end, because it feels like it's kind of rushed. Like, okay, I've treated you, I've written prescriptions, I've given you some pamphlets, I'm sending you on your way. Do you have any questions? And you kind of feel like, okay, no, I'm all right. And then they end up calling back, asking the questions once everything has settled in, or they just walk away with, with whatever on their mind and don't come back until their next visit. And then they go ahead and ask those questions. So if there's any way that you can provide that level of service, I would definitely consider that. Because it's a piece of consistency. So, most places have at least max, at the least you're going to have one new patient a day. Some places may have 5 to 10, but constantly providing that level of service also leaves the patient more comfortable to, at the end, ask questions. You could even, if you're meeting a manager or someone who deals with billing beforehand, you can ask those questions. So all of that, it kind of, I think, helps put the patient at ease, as opposed to walking in with a higher level of anxiety or nerves, depending on what they're there for. So I just thought that was great. I want to, definitely share that experience, because anytime I have a good experience going into any place, you generally will remember that. It's either, if it's really good or really bad, you remember. If it's in between, it's just like, okay, I would come back here, but did something stick out to me? Did something make me want to recommend my friend to go here? Did something make me want to share this place on social media? Did something make me want to, be a long-term patient? Would I travel an hour if I moved out of town to continue going to this physician? So there's a lot of things, to kind of think of when you're thinking about how you are offering your services to patients. So I thought that was great. Just wanted to share that. So now we're coming here, at least on the East Coast, we're coming into the summer months. So if let's just talk about some vacation, when you're returning to work after vacation, and what you should do before you go on vacation. So before you go on vacation, definitely try to wrap up all the loose ends. So most of the time, even if you're at the front desk, there may be some things that you have that are ongoing, some other responsibilities you have that are completed on a weekly basis. You may have some messages or, patient information, things that you're waiting for to have to be completed. Perhaps you haven't received whatever information back. It's your last day for the next week and you're getting ready to go away. So hopefully your office has a plan as to who's taking over. Is there someone that you should have a conversation with about what's in your inbox or what's on your desk, whether it's your coworker or your manager, just so that they know if this patient calls, this is the information for them. I tried to call, maybe you left them a message, they didn't get back to you. Or if a piece of a document comes in, what needs to happen with that, so that it's not sitting there when you come back, especially because just because you're on vacation doesn't mean that the patient is on vacation too, so their care still needs to continue while you're away. So you just want to make sure anything that's pressing that really shouldn't wait a week to be done is passed off to someone else, if someone else is aware of it, what they need to do, and just leave, little notes, instructions. That way no one attempts to contact you or bother you, interrupt your off and free time. I know many people don't answer and don't respond to things like that, but some people do. And you don't want to be in the middle of something, someone calls you with a work-related issue that you could have prevented, from happening by taking an extra 20 minutes to kind of look through what you had and share that information with someone else and make sure they knew where everything was and what the next steps would be. So that's easy, and something that I definitely recommend that everyone do. Also, excuse me, let's see. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much what you have to do as far as before you go away. Now, upon returning, when you take vacation, always try to give yourself one day in between returning and returning back to work, just because most of the time you're tired, especially if you've traveled or you've done some extensive yard work, housework, family visits, whatever it was. Try to get, if you can squeeze it in, give yourself a day in between the last day of your official vacation and going back to work, just so that you feel rested and feels good to go back, as opposed to you're dead tired and you're already waiting for Friday. So you want to give yourself a little time when you can. Also, if you have school-age children, this year it's a little late in the year, but if you know that your schedule is going to need to change, even if it's only for 3 months or 2.5 months, try to deal with that before the summer comes. Don't wait a week before the kids are out of school to say, oh, I have to start coming in a half an hour late. First of all, that your employer may not be able to accommodate that. So you may have to find an alternative, care for, between camp and when you need to be at work. Or, if you let people know ahead of time, it can be usually worked out. You can maybe work something out with the other staff members. Maybe they don't have the same home setup as you, and, they have a different flexibility in their time over the summer, so you can make changes that way. But just don't wait till the last minute to do things like that. It puts more pressure on you. It puts more pressure on your office. Most offices want to be accommodating to their staff and make sure that, there's a work life and family balance there, but you have to do your part as well. So if you have changes that are seasonal, make sure you're giving some notice to your manager. Try to work with them, and see what can be worked out if needed. It's not a surprise. We know school's out. We know that there might be camp, there might be a babysitter, there might be a change in time of when a spouse is going to work, or if they're going to work, or that kind of stuff. So just don't wait till the last minute, because if you don't get the response you want, then you have to make adjustments. And if you can't do that, then what happens? A number of things can happen. So you don't want to put yourself at any risk that you weren't prepared for. What else? So I'm also going to read a little excerpt from the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success. So on page 19, we have a portion called Assist and Explain. So sometimes people won't always ask for help. We're talking about patients here, right, at your front desk. If you notice someone taking longer than usual to complete forms, ask if there's anything you can help them with. If they question a policy or a medical procedure, explain it or get someone who can. The last thing you want is people walking out of your office completely confused. This tends to happen when people are checking out or leaving a medical facility. Lastly, before you ever say no to a patient, you must be clear on what they are asking and have an explanation and a reason to support your answer. If you don't know why your office doesn't do something, or when they stop taking a certain insurance, guess what? You should. And you really should know. You should know this information. You are the bridge, and engage with your manager or administrator and keep notes on most common questions. So I think that's a very informative excerpt. It's important. I believe that a lot of the time, especially the part about saying no, sometimes people will just jump to, they start to hear what someone's saying, and in their mind, they already have their answer. No, we don't do that. No, I can't help you with that. No, we don't deal with that here. But make sure you have your mind open, your ears open, you're listening to what the patient's actually requesting. And before you answer them, make sure you have something to support that. You want to support your answers to your patients, whether you can help them or not, whether your office can support their request or not. And also, you don't want people to leave your office confused. You want them to feel good about the experience that they had, the information that they're getting. We don't know what their diagnosis is. We don't know what the financial responsibility is going to be moving forward beyond that visit. So you just want to make sure that they have access to everything that you have access to as far as information, and that you're clear on the requirements of your office. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we covered a little bit of that. If you, again, haven't received your copy of the Medical Receptionist Network Handbook, you want to do so. Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success. You want to make sure you go ahead and grab that. If you have coworkers or staff members that you think would benefit from a copy of that, definitely welcome them to visit our website as well. We have a couple of short articles on our website. Some new stuff will be going up this month, probably by the time you are listening to this podcast. Again, I am Shivhon Atkins with the Medical Receptionist Network. Please visit us on medicalreceptionistnetwork.com, Medical Receptionist Network on Instagram, Medical Receptionist Network on Facebook. You can connect with me, Shivhon Atkins, on LinkedIn. And we look forward to having you very shortly. I have not recorded since March, so we will not go this length of time without a podcast, and hopefully we will have a guest for you the next time. Either way, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or any suggestions, please email me, info@medicalreceptionistnetwork.com. You are the bridge. Be awesome. Be great. Thank you. Take care.